get sober. For others, today, Dennis' story.
I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll shake off these heavy chains and wipe away every stain. Now I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed.
Welcome. It's the 14th day of April in the year 2014. I just realized today is 41414.
Oh.
You're a numbers guy, Bob. Does that mean anything? 414, or you could say 041414.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I noticed that because I was writing that date a lot down today, and I was thinking, I wonder if there's any significance to that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to pray about that. Today is Monday, and that means it's Recovery Monday, our program that we do every Monday with Powell CDC when we tell people stories. What life was like, what happened, and what life is like now. And Lila Stafford, my co-host in the building, as well as Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, who's watching our chat. You might be listening live on 99.3 KTIA, or you might be watching this on a podcast from webcast1live.com, and we sure appreciate either way that you're watching it. We try to do this program as a tool to help educate. We really don't get into a lot of entertainment here. Are you going to dance today, maybe? Get a little entertainment?
Sure. You didn't know I am a dancer.
Are you? Okay. We do this to educate. And it's not just the person who's suffering from one of life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. It may be that person's husband or father or mother or son or daughter or cousin or your pastor. We do this to help you understand the disease of alcoholism. Because most people who have an impression of alcoholism, it's usually through the eyes of a drunk, like me. And my kids don't understand alcoholism. They don't want to listen to it. They just don't have time for it. They're just glad I'm not drinking anymore. We do this show to help you understand what it's like to be an alcoholic. Because as much as some people might want to say, well, it's not a disease, just stop drinking for heaven's sakes. Pardon if I offend you, but that's the most ignorant statement anyone could ever make. That is so far from the truth, it isn't even spelled truth. So that's why we do this. And we appreciate you listening and watching and participating. My guest today is Dennis. There's a reason why anonymous is part of our name, and Dennis chooses to be anonymous. So if you're listening, it won't have any impact on you other than he won't be giving his last name. If you're watching, there will be no picture of Dennis. And remember, we respect that. What I ask you to do is trust me, please, as your host, and Lila as your co-host, and Bob as your co-host, that if we tell you his name is Dennis, and that his story you are about to hear is true. The names of the innocent have been changed to protect the innocent. But the story and the guts is real, and that's what this is all about. So, Dennis, welcome to Recovery Monday.
Thank you.
How are you?
Fantastic today.
Good. How long have you been sober?
Just over 16 months.
16 months. And how long of a drinking career did you have?
I had a serious drinking career for about 3.5, 4 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Before that, it was just socially?
Yes, but I had this addictive behavior my entire life.
Yeah, right.
And didn't realize until I got good at drinking.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I didn't start drinking until I was 34. Mm-hmm. Raised in an alcoholic family, just never liked the taste, didn't need to drink. Mm-hmm. But boy, did I have the alcoholic behavior. I was a crazy man. And you couldn't ever blame it on anything because I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink coffee. I didn't drink booze. I didn't do drugs. I was just nuts. As so many of us find out when we get into that program. And it's called what? Alcoholic behavior?
Yes.
Even though you don't drink, you can still have alcoholic behavior.
Yep.
Is there another name for it that doesn't have alcoholic in front of it? Just crazy person behavior, or
no? But we also call it the ism part, alcoholism, and people do that in meetings.
Yeah.
They'll say they have the ism part of it,
right?
You know, the behavior.
Yeah, because after you stop drinking, the behavior is still there, and
Correct.
That's one of the great things about this 12-step program is, at least for me, and Dennis, I want to hear it from you too, but for me, it taught me how to be an adult. I really didn't know how to be an adult. I didn't know how to act like an adult. I put on my big boy pants every day, but I wasn't a responsible person. I didn't think of other people first. I didn't put the heart of other people into what I was saying, and if I hurt them, it didn't matter.
I didn't want to be an adult.
Yeah. There you go.
I absolutely didn't. And I remember when I first got sober, it was like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to grow up.
Yeah.
And there's still a part of me. I mean, I'm sober today, but there's still a part of me that I don't want to grow up.
Sure. There's an old country song that you're not. But you are fun.
Well, but I was really fun when I used to drink.
I can only imagine. All right. So, Dennis, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Des Moines on the south side, actually.
Okay. And do you remember the first time you took a drink?
It was at a Lincoln High School football game. A friend of mine drove. We each had a bottle of cherry vodka. Ooh. And I downed about 2/3 of it. Should have told me something.
Yeah.
But at 16, you don't realize what's really happening. And so I didn't fare the night really well for some reason.
Yeah, right.
But I became a social drinker after that. Except when I was in Vietnam, I drank quite a bit. But
thank you for serving, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, did cherry vodka, does it come as cherry vodka, or you put cherry in it?
No, it comes flavored.
Whoa, isn't it amazing when we're young like that? We'll try anything.
Yeah, I
We
remember.
drank out of garbage cans.
Really?
Oh, everyone would come to parties and just throw whatever they could buy, the cheapest stuff, in a big garbage can, and then you just drink out of the garbage can. It was nasty.
I bet. All right. What was the sensation that you remember from that night at Lincoln High School?
I remember the euphoric sensation while I was at the ball game. I could do anything to anybody, be anything I wanted to be. But when I got home, I had the evacuate portion of the first drunk.
Okay.
And, hugged the porcelain bowl for quite a while.
Yeah.
But, and my parents thought nothing of it.
I was going to say, they knew?
They knew, of course I denied it. No, it must have been the bad hot dogs I ate or something,
Right.
But they knew.
Okay.
And they never said a word about it.
Now, were they alcoholics, or did they drink?
I never saw them drink, but they both had the addictive behaviors that we end up having.
Yeah.
My father was a retired Marine Corps drill instructor.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
Fun times.
I bet he took his work home, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
I always think of that guy in the commercials. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the actor's name is, but we all know who I'm talking about. That, hey, Bonehead, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Among other things, yeah.
All right. And siblings?
I had two brothers. One died in the service in February 3rd of 72.
Okay.
And, my father, although he was the dictator in the family, he left it with me up to my responsibility to ID the body when we got it back in country.
Oh.
And the worst part of that, and I blame my drinking a lot on this, although I didn't really drink for years after that, was I'd gotten out of Vietnam, and he looked at me and said, "That should have been you."
Oh.
And so that was kind of tough at 18.
Yeah.
To deal with, to have your own father tell you that you should have been the one dead. And so I carried that resentment for decades.
Absolutely.
And but I finally got past that. Thanks to Powell and the hard work that I put in and the hard work they put into me.
Wow.
So
is your father still living?
No. In fact, when he died, I had a World is a Better Place party. So I'm not proud of that, but it's a fact.
That's what you did. Okay.
Yeah.
And your mom?
She died here a few years back, and I forgave her because as I got older, I realized back in that era there was expectations.
Yeah.
They had the hot meal ready when you got home, and
Yep.
they had the paper ready for him, and all those things. And but he would physically and verbally and emotionally abuse us three boys and my mother.
Wow. What did he do for a living after he got out of the Marine Corps?
What year would be more the
Okay,
question.
so a lot of jobs.
Yeah, a lot of jobs. He
Didn't play well with others, did he?
no.
Was he fired from jobs because of?
He Well, not that I know of. I'll put it that way. But he'd always talk about, yeah, it's time for me to get something new going on. So I never knew if that was because he saw the flags up that he's not going to be there much longer, or if he really was just that random,
Yeah.
wanting something different all the time.
How old was he when he passed?
About 75.
Wow. Okay. And your other brother?
He lives on the West Coast, and he's got the behaviors of my father. And what I mean by that, my father was raising us to be neo-Nazis. And my brother in California, he lives that lifestyle to this day.
Really?
And when I was about 13, I thought there had to be something different because not everybody can be male Caucasian.
Right.
Figured that out early in life. And so my older brother and I, we were getting away from that lifestyle and those teachings because we realized it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And so, it's just the way it was. But you have to, at some point in your life, realize that, you got to think for yourself. And it's what you're learning, is it reality or is it someone else's reality that might be skewed?
Wow. What does your older brother do for a living?
My older brother, he's the one that's deceased.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, not mine.
The younger one then.
He's in sales.
Okay.
But he changes companies quite often.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Does he have problems with addictions?
he says no, although he had pancreatitis at the age of 24, 25. And that's normally caused by abuse of alcohol.
Yeah.
So let you draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. All right. And you're how old?
I am 60.
Okay. And so you took your first drink. It was cherry vodka. You hugged the porcelain gods, and you kept drinking?
It was probably another 2 or 3 weeks before I drank again. Wonder why. But I never drank that much again when I was in high school. But we always drank at the games after the football games, or the parties after the football games,
Yeah.
or basketball games, or.
What kind of a drinker or drunk were you?
I was a happy drunk.
Okay.
Hard to believe, but no, I was a happy drunk.
All right.
When I was younger, not so much, but as I got older, I was a happy drunk. I had a collection of letter jackets from every high school. Not because I went to every school, but we played every school at one point or another, and I just,
Steal a coat.
yeah, take it from them.
Yeah. Wow. And so after you got out of high school, you went to the Marines?
I went to irritate my father, I went in the Air Force. Worked well.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Okay, so you went to the Air Force. You were in Vietnam, and when were you discharged?
It would have been December of 74? Yeah, December of 74.
Okay. And your brother was killed in action?
No, he was down in Central America when he was killed.
Okay.
Hit by a drunk driver
Oh.
on his motorcycle.
Oh. Oh. But he was in the service?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So as life goes on for you, you get married?
Yes, I've been married 36 years.
Okay. Same woman.
Yes.
And children?
We have one son who's 23.
Okay.
He really is an outstanding young man.
Okay.
At 22, he bought his own house on his own. He doesn't have any debts outside of his home, and he's got a new motorcycle. He's got 3 vehicles and single.
Okay.
So any young, attractive females, call
you
the
go.
show, and I'll give you his phone number.
Okay. All right. And does he have alcoholic tendencies?
There was a period where he was drinking beer quite a bit, especially right after he moved into his own home.
Okay.
And he was telling me one time about hugging the porcelain bowl. And I says, I've been there. And I says, if you ever want to stop that, let me know, and I'll set you up with the right people that can help you.
Okay.
And he just stopped on his own. He still drinks occasionally, but he doesn't drink to excess.
And he doesn't have the behaviors.
Yes, in some ways he does, but he understands how bad the alcohol part is.
Okay.
He loves his occupation.
What does he do?
Yeah, he's an auto technician.
Oh, good. Good.
And he loves working on vehicles and motorcycles, and you got a friend's Harley stripped down to the frame in his garage right now that he's rebuilding and repainting and doing all that stuff to it. So
That's awesome. Dennis is our guest today. When we come back, how did the drinking accelerate, and what consequences did he face? And then later on, what happened? What finally made him quit? That's today on Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC, live here on KTIA, Iowa.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after the hour on this 14th day of April in the Lord's year 2014. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and thanks for listening. I love my job. I couldn't do it without you. I thank Chris Roloff and Mike Carbone and all the folks up at Stu Epperson Jr., all of the folks at the Truth Network. This is just the greatest job in the world. I love talking politics for years and years and years. I love playing country music for years and years. But to sit down every day and talk about recovery, talk about Jesus, talk about what's passionate in my heart, not what you want me to talk about. What a great job. You know, as a political talk show host, I had to talk about what you wanted to talk about. I had to get up in the morning and I had to figure out what the water cooler talk, what was everybody talking about today in politics, and that's what we discuss. And it was okay, but it was a job. This is a passion, and I'm so thankful to be able to do it, and I thank you for listening. This is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. Lila Stafford in the house, and your son's okay?
Yes.
Okay. And Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. And Bob, we appreciate you being here. We missed you for about a week. You were out in California.
That's right.
And I love what you said. You've never seen so many cars that you've never heard of before.
Well, I never saw before.
Like what? Ferraris and...
Yeah, Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Maseratis
Rolls-Royce,
and
Rolls
Aston
Royce.
Martins.
Seen
Same in
Rolls
LA.
Royces?
Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
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 That's
Newport
great.
Beach.
Newport Beach.
A lot of those things.
A lot of
Big
money
yachts.
down there. All right, Dennis is our guest today, and part of our identity is we can be anonymous if we choose, and Dennis chooses to be anonymous, so please trust Bob and Lila and I that Dennis is who he says he is. He's, what'd you say, 17 months sober?
16.
16 months sober. And we're just kind of talking about life. And so, all right, so you got out of Vietnam, you came home, and how long until you got married?
I got married when I was 25.
Okay. And Was there alcohol? Was she is she a drinker? Did she drink?
No, very rarely.
Okay.
And when she does, she'll go through a bottle of wine in a day,
Yeah.
but rarely does she drink.
Okay.
What's that? Now, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
Well, when she opens a bottle of wine, she'll go through it in 24 hours, but she only opens one every 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And you said you had a son. You were talking how wonderful he was.
yes, he's great.
All right. So while you're married and you're having a son and you've got a career and are you drinking every day?
I was really a social drinker. Got together with some friends on the weekend to have parties, card parties and things, and drink then. Rarely would ever drink to excess. Normally just 2 or 3 drinks, and that was about it.
Okay.
But I had this addictive behavior in every other arena of my life.
Tell me what that looks like. What would that look like to me?
Okay. When I was smoking, I was going through 3 packs of Camel Straights a day. That's not normal. That's an addictive
My lungs
behavior.
hurt.
And I quit that when my wife became pregnant.
Wow.
So
Good for you.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
When I was working on salary, I only needed to work 40 hours, but I would put 60, 70 hours in.
Okay.
My team was always on top.
Okay.
But I didn't need to be there. But that's that addictive behavior once again.
Okay. Were you a typhoon in the room?
To a degree, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You were type A personality.
Yeah, without question.
You're the leader.
Yep.
What kind of husband were you?
If you ask my wife today, she's probably seen out a very good one.
Okay.
But we never wanted for anything. Always had money in the bank. Always had new cars.
I think this is interesting. You ask any guy, that answer is so typical of a man.
Really?
It's like, how is your marriage or whatever? It's like, I put, my wife didn't have to work, or we never wanted for anything. Just exactly what you said. And a wife's answer would be totally different and has nothing to do with money.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Has to do with communication, or, how well, if you were there, when she needed somebody. It's interesting.
Wow. That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was just thinking how I would answer that.
And I bet you would have said the same thing.
I wouldn't today.
Yeah, but you would.
But I would have before.
Yeah.
I would have said, well, we live in this really cool house and we drive the cars we want, and she goes on vacation whenever she wants to wherever she wants to go, and she has nice jewelry and nice clothing, and
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that today. So all right. So when did you ever pay a consequence for your drinking? And I mean legally.
Yeah. Never was arrested, never had any accidents, never wrecked
So
a
did
car.
that make it harder for you to admit that you were an alcoholic because you didn't get in trouble?
No, when I finally realized I had a problem, there was no question that I had a problem. And now that I've been in the program a while and hear everybody else who's had legal issues and OWIs and, hitting people, hurting people that are crossing the street and things, I never experienced that. And I'm grateful for that. And I hope I never, ever do. But that can happen to you sober as well as drunk. Accidents happen.
Yeah.
But no, I never had that exposure. It was just my bottom. My true bottom was what really made me realize it wasn't the things I didn't experience. It was the one event that really drove it home for me.
Yeah.
So,
Which was what?
I was drinking on a Monday. You can't drink all day if you don't start when you get up. So I would start when I got up. And in the afternoon, I had a loaded 45 in my mouth.
Oh, my.
And, believing that, everyone was right that I can't do anything right. And, I'm pretty worthless at that point. I'd lost my job due to drinking. Life wasn't real good in that respect. So I went into a blackout. And the last thing I remember was thinking, how is anybody going to explain this to my son? And so the next morning I wake up and thinking, holy shit, they're right. I can't do anything right. And I'm feeling around, seeing if I had any holes in me, nothing. And I was still looking for a job, even though I was drinking to that excess. And I opened up my planner, and somebody had written in my handwriting the following Friday, Powell CDC at 6:45.
Now, hold on. Somebody had written in your planner with
my-
your handwriting.
Yes.
But you didn't write it.
No, it was my blackout.
Okay, so in your blackout,
Yeah.
you wrote it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew I didn't have a problem. So I called Powell and I talked to, can I say your first name?
Yeah.
I talked with Lori there. And she was like a pit bull with a steak. She really was. We talked for about a half hour, and she finally says, so you don't remember anything about a 45-minute conversation yesterday? Nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing.
So you had called her drunk. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I being a gentleman, not wanting to be rude and hang up on her, I said, okay, fine, I'll be there Friday. And I immediately, take a drink and decide that my next plan would be to show up there on Wednesday and prove to her that I'm not alcoholic. So I put on a nice suit and, all the good stuff that I had when I was working. And so I talked to her for about a half hour. And after about a half hour, that pit bull would still not let go. And she said, hold your hands out in front of you. So I did. She says, see? And I said, yeah, see, I don't have a problem. She says, look at your hand. My hand was just going crazy.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know it. Didn't feel it doing that. And so at that point, I realized between that and the gun incident, I realized, I should probably come in and talk to him Friday morning. And spent the next 6 days in detox.
Wow.
So
Now, I had a similar experience, and one of the things I don't enjoy saying, but I say it out loud because I think it helps people, and I bet you can relate. You'll never get the taste of gun oil out of your mouth.
nope. That and napalm. Nope.
Dennis is my guest today. We appreciate you listening. It's raw. It takes a lot of courage to come in and tell these stories. It takes a lot of time to be able to even think of them, let alone put them into articulate words. And sometimes it's very raw, and I apologize when it's so raw, but I hope you're listening. Dennis's story is like so many others. We'd like to think when you got in, when I got in, I'm nobody's like me.
Yeah. I'm unique.
I'm unique. I got a special story. Nobody's ever done this. Nobody's ever done that. And then all of a sudden you realize that there are thousands of people who have the same life and the same experience as you just did.
Yep. Same problems.
Yeah. All right. So that's interesting. Why do you think you called Powell in your blackout?
I had a very good friend that I worked with before I got fired that she'd gone through Powell, and she was trying to get me to go to meetings with her.
Okay.
And, really nice gal. She'd been sober for over a year, and she just kept pushing and pushing. And unfortunately, she's no longer in the program, but thankfully I am.
Meaning she's gone back out for research?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
researching.
Okay.
But I really think that was why I called Powell, is because her insistence that, I need to go and at least go to a few meetings and see what it was like.
Yeah.
So I'd
So
have shown
people
her
at your
drunk.
work, I mean, you said you were fired because of your drinking. People at your work knew, everyone knew that you were drinking, or?
I was a highly functional alcoholic, but I'm sure now that they had to know something. And when I was fired, it was for an incident that didn't happen on company time and didn't happen on company property. It was one of those weird things, but I did it, and I got to own up to it. So, and I was fired for something that happened.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling that story. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if this is just the conservative liberal or the conservative, libertarian in me, but I just hate it when something that you do off camera, or I'm not off camera, off work, that has nothing to do with work, that doesn't impact clients or doesn't impact employees or the company or anything, somehow you pay the ultimate price, and that's your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's happening to kids now in school. Did you know
yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we passed a law in this state that a child can be punished within the school system rules, even if it's done outside of school, on
yeah.
social network, anywhere.
If kids are on spring break in Florida and they do something down there, they can be expelled at school.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Well, of course, at my job, that's the case
What?
for what I do. What I do outside of work will affect and has the potential to affect my job,
Why?
because I serve the public in my position.
Oh, Oh, but you didn't serve the public.
Oh,
Okay, well, anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent here. But I just think I just think it's so. It's the political talk show hosted me coming out, but I don't understand why we've evolved to that. Why have we evolved to that?
Well, I'll tell you, the student thing is that it eventually leaks into their to the behavior of the children at school.
But that's not school's job.
Well, it's hard as a teacher, an ex-teacher.
right.
It's hard to control kids when they're constantly talking about what they did on spring break and bragging about it, and then they bring it to school, and it affects the behavior of other kids.
The other thing to consider too is that when people try for a job, their Facebook
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
is checked out, and I've done that too on people
Yeah,
to see what type of person is that.
I do too.
So
Yeah, and CJ's head of HR for a big company, and I can't believe some of the things that they are allowed to do. Of course, she's always made fun of my HR department because it doesn't exist. I don't have an HR department. She always used to tell me, you need to put a handbook together. Well, if I put a handbook together, then I have to follow it. And I don't want to follow it, so
Yeah.
why? Anyway.
I'll tell you, though, it does affect me how I talk on Facebook, because there are times when I want to talk to a friend and I would talk to them totally different than how I'm writing it on there, because I keep thinking it's not just my friend that's seeing this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if any of my employers would see this, I've got to watch my
Oh,
mouth.
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. All right, it's that time again. We're coming back. Going to find out what happened in Powell to Dennis and what his life's like now. We're coming back live here on Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC on KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network news at the top, and then Michael Mudloff with True Blue from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. We look forward to his message today. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and it's the 14th day of the 4th month in the 2014 year. A lot of 4s and a lot of 14s today, so we appreciate you hanging with us. If you're a numbers person, you might want to take those numbers and you know, maybe they're lucky numbers. Although I don't believe in lucky numbers. You do, though, don't you? You believe in numbers. You think numbers speak to you.
Well, I don't call them lucky, but
yeah.
Yes, I think that's one way that God communicates with us.
Is through numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite number?
Well, I have another. It started with 333.
333. That's right. I remember this story.
I have a book on numbers. It's very interesting. Really, really interesting. It's wonderful.
Right.
You don't mean March 3rd of 1903.
No, I didn't realize when I kept waking up in the morning at the same time.
333.
And then until I went to a meeting and I was, somebody mentioned Jeremiah 33:3.
Oh.
Which is?
Call to me and I will show you things you do not know about the future.
Oh.
Wow.
So that's where it started.
Awesome. Love Jeremiah. He was a bullfrog, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to do that. I pushed you got one nerve left and I just pushed it, didn't I? I'm sorry. It's Holy Week. I'm in a great mood. I love Holy Week. I celebrate 4 years here in just a few weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was during Holy Week that God convicted me that it was time to quit and led me to, I'm at church early one morning. And I'm talking about like an hour before anybody else is there. And there's this neat guy there. That's that guy that's always at church. And he's always helping and setting up chairs. And there's nobody in the place. And I'm standing next to him. And for some reason, out of the blue, I said, I really want to quit drinking. And this guy looked at me and he said, well, I've been in AA for 27 years. He said, let me help you. And he put me with somebody who put me with somebody. That was Carl Voss. I don't know if you remember Carl.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was Carl.
I love him. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved him too. He's gone now, but he helped a lot of people when he was around. All right. So, you called Powell in the middle of a blackout. You wrote it down. You show up at Powell. They call your bluff.
Yeah.
And you go into detox for a week.
Yep, 6 days.
All right. And then what happened? And that was the first time in 30 years you had ever gone for 1 day, let alone 6?
No, I would go for, drink on the weekends for
that's
for
right.
decades.
You said that, yeah.
But it was the first time I'd ever gone, more than a week without a drink. So.
Okay.
But, and so I went in on a Friday. They put me in detox, and they said, typically you're here 3 or 4 days. And after 6 days, I was ready to crawl the walls.
Yeah.
And they were going to move me downstairs, to the Powell ward itself. And I owe this doctor an amends. But I explained to him I was going home that day because it was the day before Thanksgiving. And I owed it to my family to be there and help get everything ready the night before. And he said, I can't do that. He said, you'll have to go AMA, against medical advice. And I says, well, here's your choice, doctor. You can either sign me out and give me the information I need so that I can stay sober, or I can go out AMA and you'll be treating me again in another month. So I kind of forced his hand, and he signed me out to go home. And it was a good Thanksgiving. I didn't help that night. Of course, it's the alcoholic in me that was speaking, but I didn't drink. And so that was Thanksgiving Day. And then 2 days later, although we'd had conversations that would not happen, we had our drinking party at our house on Saturday. And I got through that without drinking.
Wow.
Because I knew I was screwed up big time.
Did you tell everybody that you had been in detox for a week?
No.
Nobody knew.
Nope.
Your family knew.
My son didn't even know where I was. He just knew I was in the hospital. That's all he knew.
Okay, and he didn't come visit. Well, he couldn't.
Oh no, I told him I don't want any visitors while I'm here. So
all right, that side of you has changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
You're much more open and transparent and revealing than you are.
Absolutely.
Are you comfortable with that yet?
Pretty much so, yeah.
Okay.
I've always been kind of open, but I didn't share a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm still open, but I'm going to share anything you want to know.
Sure. All right, so when did you go back to Powell then?
Actually, I went back on Friday,
Okay.
that day after Thanksgiving, and then the following Monday, I started my 5-day,
You're outpatient.
my outpatient during the day.
Okay. And what was the thing that you learned about yourself in those first few days which made you go, wow, really? Really? That's me?
I found out that as screwed up as I wasn't alone.
Okay.
I was in a group of people who had died from heroin overdoses, and this one guy's wife brought him back to life while they, gave him CPR while he was waiting for the ambulance to show up.
Wow.
I talked to one guy who's now in prison because when he was drinking, he had a friend of his on a tractor and got hurt real bad, and so he's in jail now. And there's another guy that I met since then who had a friend die in a tractor incident. I don't know what's about tractors. Maybe it's the farm boy in me, but
Sure.
So there's just been a lot of things happen to where I realized that, if I don't share what I've learned, other people can't learn from my experience. And so I've been working to become a counselor.
Okay.
That's a long ways away yet, probably, but I've been going to school. I've been thinking about a career change before I got fired. So there's probably a message from God that says now's the time to change a career.
Yeah.
And so this is what I've chosen to do, and I'm working towards that end, and hopefully someday I'll be there.
If your son was sitting where Lila was,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to him?
Learn from my screw-ups, because there's a lot of lessons to be learned there. And if he asks questions, ask.
Okay.
He knows some stuff about Vietnam that I've not told others yet. I still got those couple little secrets I'm going to take to the grave with me.
Your secrets keep you sick.
Yeah, but he knows them.
Okay.
And
why are you going to take him to the grave?
because I'm not proud of him.
Yeah, but well, I'm not a counselor, so I'll shut up.
I've shared them with my son, and I shared them with the mental health therapist there at Powell.
Oh, good. Okay,
and they're the only
good.
ones that I've shared it with.
All right, so you have brought them into your program.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
good,
Yeah.
good. All right. And if your wife was sitting where Lila was, what would you say to her?
The best is yet to come, and I hope you're around to see it.
Good. Okay. Good. Okay, so you go through, what, 30 days outpatient?
4 weeks.
4 weeks, all right. And you did all of your, how many steps did you get through in Powell?
They just do the first 3 steps at Powell.
Okay.
And so I got through those okay.
I thought, didn't you tell me once that you couldn't leave until you did your 4th and 5th?
No, somebody on here was talking about that experience at Powell a long time ago, but we don't do that anymore.
Oh, you don't do it anymore. Okay. All right.
Because people were just hurrying to get through
Sure.
it and lying and everything.
Yeah.
Get through, so-
Yeah. I was one of those.
Yeah.
When I did mine at Powell, because I've been in and out for, I denied after 2 OWIs that I had any problem. But I had to go through the paper, you know, and get signed off, and anyway, just horrible. So you got a sponsor.
Yes. I got a sponsor about a week and a half out of detox.
Okay.
I learned, if nothing else, that was important to stay sober, and I truly wanted to stay sober. And so I made a checklist of what I needed in a sponsor.
Good.
I wanted them to be sober at least 5 years, better if they're 10. I made it like a job description, actually. So I had a must-haves and be nice to have kind of list.
Okay.
And so I had a pretty good picture of what I wanted. And I was hitting meetings like crazy because I knew I didn't want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
And I talked to probably 9 guys or 8 or 9 guys after meetings where if I heard them say something that I liked, or I liked the way they presented themselves, or there's something about them that I thought might work out, I'd talk to them afterwards, and I'd just go through my checklist.
Good.
And being the prudent hiring manager, hiring a sponsor in my mind, I had a second interview with 2 of them. And the one thing that put my current sponsor over the other gentleman was, when we were done, he says, if you're ever going to change sponsors, he says, that's okay. It happens all the time. Just tell me.
Yeah, right. Don't
said-
just disappear.
He didn't want to worry about me being in jail or dead or something. And so
Dennis is my guest today. When we come back, we're going to find out what life is like now, 16 months sober. Lila and Bob are here. I'm Mac. We're coming back live on Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC on KTIA, Iowa.
mother who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 before the top, Salem Radio Network News, and then Michael Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. Tomorrow, we're going to have a really good show. Will Rogers is going to come on with Tom Coates and do a little politicking, and we're going to talk what in the heck is the local media doing to the Branstad administration with this severance thing, these secret pay. Folks, it's called severance pay and non-disclosure. Everybody has them. But everybody's making such a big, it's an election year. I forgot. Jack Hatch. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So what about, because I've never met you before today. Mm-hmm. If I was your buddy, one of your drinking buddies, mm-hmm. and you and I drove to Iowa City and back, because we just took a road trip because I needed mm-hmm. to pick up, what would you share with me about drinking?
What I would share is one thing is the financial cost. Mm-hmm. I put numbers to my one of my assignments was figuring out my costs over my drinking and drugging career, because in Vietnam I smoked marijuana. Okay. Surprise, I inhaled. So I had to go through different periods of my life and figure out that cost. In my last year of drinking, I spent $38,000 in scotch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My.
I don't drink the cheap stuff.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
I just, it had to be good, and I would drive forever to get it if I had to.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Costco carried it for me.
So you said you'd buy 2 cases on Saturday morning.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you'd be gone through those cases.
Yep.
By the next Saturday.
Yep.
That's 24 bottles.
Yeah, about 3 a day.
Wow. And you were drinking during the daytime hours?
You can't drink if you don't start early.
Okay.
I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the bathroom, and I'd go back out and I'd drink before I got back to bed.
Wow.
I was an organized drunk. I had 4 bottles in my freezer. I always drank from the one on the right. When it got empty, roll those over and put another warm one in. So I always had cold. I could drink it neat.
Yeah.
Always drank at home, never out.
Yeah. Boy, you and I are a lot alike, brother. I mean, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. You said you always drank it neat. Mm-hmm. I ended up, and by the way, for those of you listening that don't know what that means, it means without anything, without any mix. All right. Now, on the rocks or not?
No, neat all the way.
Wow. Well, of course, it was cold, so that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that called?
Neat.
As a bartender, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, if you order Scotch neat, it means just straight, no rocks, no sauce, no Coke, no soda, no nothing. It's just neat.
Just the good stuff.
Yep.
Well, that was The bar where I worked, nobody would order it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was low class.
Where'd you work?
In Denver, Colorado.
You know, it was kind of interesting because growing up, well, I guess not growing up, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, my favorite television show was Dallas.
Oh.
And JR would always drink branch and bourbon. Remember that?
Oh.
He'd say, give me a branch and bourbon. And then he'd say neat. And I don't think too many people ever caught that, but I saw him on an interview with the old Phil. Well, anyway, and he said, that's a joke that I put in the line. He said that was never written in the script, but he'd always say, yeah, give me branch and bourbon, make it neat. And nobody ever called him on it.
Well,
yeah, he's dead. Anyway, so what's your life like now? How is it different from before?
Okay. One of the big things for me is I reclaimed my faith. I gave it away on January 4th of 73. It was one of those foxhole things.
Yeah.
And so I'd gone without any real faith or spirituality for decades. And I found it again.
Yeah.
And I realized I hadn't given it away, or I had given it away, but I could take it back.
Yeah.
And so I'm much more spiritual now than I was before. I still don't go to church, but I meditate daily, I pray daily. I do all those things that I need to do to stay sober and be accountable to somebody.
Can I get you to go to church with me?
Sure.
I'd love to take you to my church.
Okay.
We got a great. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Off.
hey, well, speaking of our church, my nephew wrote on Facebook that his daughter, who's 7, said that she hates church because you're always waiting for something. And he just put that up. I said, not at our church. We're dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, we have a men's group that meets on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
6:15, 6:45, we had a hot breakfast. And then there's about 15 of us that go into another room, and we're studying Romans for the whole year. But probably a third of those people are in recovery. And the other 2/3 know we're in recovery and love it. I mean, love to learn about it. So it might be a cool guys group. All right. So what do you hope? What do you think God's purpose for your life is?
I thought long and hard for a long time because I should have died in Vietnam. And for some reason, God had me here on this earth. And I think it's because of my son, of all things.
Okay.
I was raised to be a not nice person. But my son is just the exact opposite of my father. Exact opposite. And I think when you look at the impact that one individual can have over his lifetime with the people and the communities he lives in, the communities he works in, just his group of friends, when you look at the impact he can have on those people by being open and accepting of everybody, what a difference that can make. And I think that's why God kept me around back then. It was my son.
Good. I asked you a couple of these before, but I want to ask you one more. What would you say if your father was sitting where Lila was?
I would thank him for one thing, and that would be he taught me how to not be a father. That's my one big takeaway from him.
He taught you how not to be a good father.
As my husband had a father that sounded a little bit like yours, and he always said his stepfather taught him, exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just to do the opposite. He would do the opposite of whatever his dad did, and then he'd know he was doing well.
The right thing.
Yeah. But it's hard. It's hard when you don't have that example there.
Right. Yeah, right. It was so sad. Part of my testimony is that I had a wonderful father, just the greatest guy in the world, still alive. I love him. But I modeled myself after my uncle, who was a womanizing, alcoholic, verbally abusive, loud, tornado in control type of guy.
Yep.
And that's who I modeled myself after. And you know why? Because he made my mother laugh.
Whoa.
My mother didn't laugh at anything in life. She was not a happy woman. She was sexually abused as a child, so why would you be happy?
Yeah.
But my uncle made her laugh. Her brother.
And you wanted to do that.
I wanted my mom to be happy. I wanted her, so I thought, well, that behavior would do it. And I could not be any more wrong. Anyway, Dennis, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure meeting you. I hope our paths continue to cross.
I
You're a
hope
good
so.
guy.
I know that now.
Good.
Didn't then, but I do now.
Okay.
You're taking him to church, remember?
Yeah. And you know God loves you.
I know that.
And you're not a drunk in his eyes. You are the son of a risen king, and he loves you just as you are. Okay.
I
Sorry, too
understand
much
that.
religion here, Lila.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I forget about that. All right, Bob, thanks for being here. Lila, thanks for being here. Ryan, thanks for producing. I'll see you tomorrow right here. Same bat time. I always wanted to say that. Same bat channel. And until we see each other again, I can only tell you this 2 more times after today. Remember what I changed for Lent? I ask people at the end of this program to think of somebody they have a resentment for, that they just can't stand, that they hate, that they cross the street if they had to touch them again, and forgive them. Just pray.